Thank you for joining us. Today we will be talking about doubtful authority and misleading statistics. My group members are Hyra Lopez, Tyrell Zatina, and me, Abigail Henry. Before we jump into the presentation, here's a little something to think about. If you could be any animal for one day, what would you be? Okay, now let's get into the presentation. What is an argumentation? An argumentation is a set of claims or statements. It is also a logical way to determine whether something is true or false. In everyday life, we use argument. Most people think that an argument means a quarrel between two persons, but really it's not. It's just a logical way to get your point across by using facts. What is a fallacy? A fallacy is an argument dependent upon an unsound or illogical statement. Logical fallacies are errors in reasoning that invalidate the argument. A fallacious statements are statements or an argument based on false or invalid inference. This causes the argument to be false and not factual. So, we're going to be talking a bit about doubtful authority. Argumentum ad verecundum is the Latin phrase which means literally to modesty. It refers to a logical fallacy, or in other words, a bad argument. Here we have an example. It says, using an authority as evidence in your argument when the authority is not really an authority on the facts relevant to the argument, as the audience allowing an irrelevant authority to add credibility to the claim being made. So to help you understand more, we have an example. Example number 1 says, my mom once told me that girls will go crazy for boys if they learn how to cook. Therefore, if you want to make ladies go crazy for you, learn to cook. Wouldn't that be great? So this is a bad argument because even if the mom were an expert on relationships, her belief about what makes girls go crazy for guys is speculative or perhaps circumstantial at best. So this is her belief. Not everyone believes that cooking is an asset to make a girl go crazy. Some girls like knowledge, some like fashion, some like physique. It's not a fact. Everyone has different opinions. And the example number 2 says, a little boy says that his friend should not go swimming in a river because his dad told him that there were germs in the river. So this is basically an argument with two boys. Boy A says, my daddy says that you should not go swimming in a river because it has germs. Now boy B will reply, how does your dad know that? A good argument would be if boy A stated that his father knows because his father works with the health department, so he would more than likely know that the river has germs. But if he had said, well, his dad looked it up on a website one night, that would be a bad argument because we don't know the validity of such website. But being that his dad works with the health department, then his dad would know that the river is unsanitary. And example 3 says, Mike said that the train would be late by 5 minutes. Now Mike is guessing that the train will be late. Mike is not an expert in trains, before his claim is fallacious. So Mike is basically a passenger that stated that the train will be 5 minutes late. But he does not work with the train he does not work at the train station, so the train could be 5 minutes, it can be 10, 20. It's fallacious. And so doubtful authority is basically an unqualified statement by an endorser. Misleading statistics is a term that refers to the misusage of numerical data, either intentionally or due to error, that results in misleading information. Misleading statistics can deceive the receiver of the information if the receiver is not careful to notice the error in deception. Here for the examples, I will be stating some misleading statistics. So, example number 1 states, there are a billion people in the world who are hungry. Now, statistically speaking, it's actually 795 million, but who's counting? Example number 2 says hand sanitizers kills 99.99% of germs. So basically after using hand sanitizer you were practically clean. Now, statistically speaking again, it says under laboratory conditions when tested in a real world settings, they kill as few as 46% of germs. So you can, this is not, this is intentionally, because from 46% to 99% of germs, we must really want to sell hand sanitizers. So example number 3 says Colgate claims that 80% of dentists recommend the brand. Now, the claim, which was based on surveys of dentists and hygienists carried out by the manufacturer, was found out to be misrepresentative, as it allowed the participants to select one or more toothpaste brands. The ASA stated that the claim would be understood by readers to mean that 80% of dentists recommended Colgate over and above other brands, and the remaining 20% would recommend different brands. Now, we know the business world is very competitive, so sometimes these brands would alter their statistics so we can choose them over other brands. But that does not make it right. It's still a lie. So misleading statistics is basically factual evidence that is misrepresentative or altered to influence an audience or us, the buyer. Here we have a short quiz to test what you learned throughout the presentation. So, number 1 says, what is an argument, fallacy, and fallacious statements in your understanding? Number 2 says, what is appeal to doubtful authority? 3, what is misleading statistics? 4, give an example of appeal to doubtful authority. And 5, give an example of a misleading statistics. So just to recap, doubtful authority is often an attempt to win an argument with reference to famous people or an authority figure. The statement is only valid when such authority is an expert in the specific area being discussed. And misleading statistics is evidence that is misrepresented or altered to influence an audience decision. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We truly hope that you learned something and enjoy your day. Thank you.